The suspect resisted, holding on to a satchel. He struggled with the officers over the satchel. One officer tased the suspect. The taser had no effect. The officer attempted to tase him again, at which time the individual grabbed the taser from the officer, had possession of the taser, also had possession of the satchel. Officer stepped back, fired one shot, striking the individual. Officers immediately rendered aid. Individual was taken to a local hospital where he's in critical but stable condition. Only one officer fired one shot. Located in the satchel was a handgun. The individual also had a knife on him. The male is a 35-year-old man. He is known to our officers. Just last year, officers recovered 2 handguns off the suspect in this same area. We have activated our critical incident recording policy. Our health and wellness are with the members of the department, and victim services are here on the scene. At this time, I will take any questions.
So we're going to start questions here and work our way over. I just want to ask, is there any sort of protocol or training that is involved in de-escalating these types of situations with so many people around? Because I know from what we've seen, the officer didn't shoot the suspect, but there was a number of people who were walking around, standing around, cars in that area. So is there any other protocol that could have been used to sort of de-escalate this, or did they use the right protocol?
The easiest way for it to be de-escalated was for the suspect to comply.
Hold on 1 second. Let's wait for the...
Yeah, the officers were attempting to de-escalate. They were trying to take the satchel from the individual, and they were trying to get control of the individual. They tased him. It didn't have any effect. They wanted to tase him again and use our less lethal options. He grabbed the taser and got possession of the taser. And you'll see when we release the video, as he got possession of the taser, he was also gaining control of the satchel as well. That's when the officer stepped back and fired around. And you'll see in close proximity to one of our other officers who was still engaged with the suspect when the round was fired.
And the officer who shot, he did pull out his gun prior to, while he's still tasing the suspect. So him having the weapon out so soon, was that an indication that he might have... What I'm trying to say is, like, it seems as though he was preparing to use other means because his weapon was drawn way before he stepped back and shot.
Well,
do you have anything to say to that?
It's called an escalation of force. So you go from verbal commands, and then you can use your mace, then you go to the taser, and then you go to lethal force. So the officer had tased him once, and it didn't work. He tried to tase him a second time. The individual got control of the officer's taser. If he's able to use that on the officers, then he just rendered the officer incapable of responding. So the officer must have felt in fear that he needed to use the weapon and step back and fired the shot.
The other people involved in the fight, have they been arrested?
The other people that were involved in the fight actually never made a complaint that I'm aware of. We had it on, our officers in the station were watching it on CCTV, and we want to stop this individual because we knew he had something in his pocket. Come to find out, we believe it was a knife, because a knife was also recovered from the individual. Who?
The suspect who shot, will he be apprehended even if
Absolutely, yes.
Keith?
Yeah, Mr. Commissioner, really quickly, the CCTV camera was watching this individual. They noticed that he had a knife. Is that what you said?
No, they did not notice the knife at first. They just noticed the fight. There was an altercation on Wilson Street. They were directed to this individual because they knew he had something in his pocket. They didn't know that it was a knife. They didn't know what was in his pocket, but they knew he had something in his pocket, had just been involved in an altercation. They were looking for the victim from the altercation, and then officers wanted to stop him to see what he had in his pocket, and that's when he took off running.
You said one individual walking with something in his pocket. You actually said walking with a knife, but it's one individual that was walking with something in his pocket that got the attention of officers?
No, what got the attention of, you're talking about on the CCTV?
Yes, sir.
The CCTV, they watched the altercation between our person who was shot and another individual, which eventually we saw on CCTV that he was pointing a knife at the individual. Officers watching CCTV did not have that information that I'm aware of about the knife, but they knew he had something in his pocket. Those officers directed the patrol officers to stop this individual as he was walking across Pennsylvania Avenue. As officers approached, the individual took off running, and the officers tackled him in the middle of the parking lot. They were struggling over a satchel that he had, which we eventually found out had a handgun in it. And then the officer tased him in an attempt to get him to comply. He refused, continued to fight. The officer wanted to tase him a second time, and the suspect grabbed the taser, and now he had control of the taser, and he was gaining control of the satchel, which had a handgun.
Here's the question.
Siobhan, thanks.
Oh, okay.
What will the suspect be charged with?
He'll be charged with the ag assault of the victim, and he'll be charged with resisting arrest.
And has the mayor seen the footage? And if so, has he given his opinion on it?
He saw the footage, but
Channel 11.
Are there next steps in the investigation as it relates to the officer? Is he on administrative?
yeah, he's on routine administrative leave. What happens is any use of force is taken very seriously by our department. We will look at the body-worn camera. The officer gets on administrative leave. He won't make any statements. And then once he comes back, our Public Integrity Bureau will investigate it to make sure it's in compliance with all of our policies.
13.
When he was tased the first time, was he on the ground? And when he was tased the second time, was he on the ground?
Yes. They never fully tased him the second time, I don't believe. I believe that's when he grabbed the taser and got control of the taser.
So then after he grabbed the taser, he was on the ground. When he was shot, was he on the ground? Was his back facing the officer?
He was on the ground, yes.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.